Being a narcissist, they're throwing this word around a lot, and there are different traits, of course, there are different types. But one of the things I want to talk about is being a serial dater. I was a serial dater for a very long time. And in being a serial dater, I would spread myself thin for many women, just like serial daters, as far as women, they spread themselves thin for many, many men. But I did it for many women. I was chasing a feeling. I was chasing a high. I was chasing a drug. I was chasing my addictions for many, many years. And so I didn't give myself time to settle in with one woman to show that I could care or I could love, because I couldn't. And I knew that. So it was like, I'm going from one woman to the next, to the next, to the next, and getting this fix from her, for her. And I just start over. So a serial dater lives with a double mind. I never kept my word. I never made promises, and if I did, I lied. I didn't keep the promises. So a trait of an overt narcissist, we'll talk about being overbearing, right? But the serial dating part is serious, it's dysfunctional, it's nasty, it's despicable, it's all of those things. And so I had to think about in therapy why I was doing what I was doing. But come to find out that I was chasing this high, and I was also running away from my childhood fears of not knowing how to love, not caring. So I could say that for maybe a month or two with a woman. After a while, she was gonna get tired of it, because it was easy for me to say, I could care less. I don't care. You can leave. And when a narcissistic person says that, they don't mean it. They just saying it out of hurt, their own hurt and own pain, and to hurt you and put you in pain. So it makes them feel powerful. It makes them feel better when they see that you're hurting just like them, or you're hurting. Actually, you hurt more than them, because when I was verbally abusive, I would say some really nasty, outlandish things. So because I had to defeat her before she defeated me. And if I'm gonna defeat you in a way that is that painful, most women don't want to come back, don't want to, respond to that, don't want to deal with it, don't want to hear those nasty words. And I knew that. And so I got really good at that in a bad way. And it's, I feel bad for it. Now in therapy, I had to meet those words. I had to talk about those words. I had to talk about those things. I had to talk to my therapy about what I said. And even when it was time for me to confess, I was like, I don't want to do that, because now I'm speaking to a therapist, a real person that I can't emotionally affect. And she's just going to sit there and try to help me through it. But when I was saying those nasty words and things like that, and being verbally abusive, it felt good. And so now I got to talk about, why did it feel good to you? And then she made me reflect. I had to think about my childhood, my past, and why I was acting the way that I was acting. I wasn't a good husband because of my narcissistic traits. I wasn't a good father because of my narcissistic traits. Being overbearing is just one of the traits. Being arrogant, self-centered are two more traits, right? And being very competitive. And so I didn't want to listen to my ex-wife. I didn't want to listen to my ex-girlfriends. I didn't want to be wrong. I feared being wrong because it didn't feel good. Even if I was lying, I had to be right in a lie. And that's how sick it is. I was a pathological liar. I was never told that. But yeah, I was a pathological liar. I just lied for no reason at all, to make myself feel good, or to also make others feel good about who I thought that I was when I wasn't that person. And then when people started believing that, I started thinking that I could be that person, and I became that person. And it's like, see, I wasn't lying to you. It's a really sick and twisted way to live. It's a really sick and twisted way to think. It's a draining life. It's a draining lifestyle. But I couldn't allow myself to think that it was draining, because I would go back to my childhood fears and feel inept and feel insecure, because narcissistic people have a very, very, very fragile ego. And we don't talk about that enough. But I had to make sure that I was a certain person. And then when I started being that person, I started believing that person. But when it came to emotions, I wasn't that person. So when you make yourself think that you're this person, this grandiose mindset, and then you have to be real about it with the emotions. The emotions are not there. The actions are there to win sailor court or sailor year, or get promoted or get rewarded. The work ethic is there. The work ethic is also there when you spread yourself thin, when you're a serial dater. There's work ethic involved in that. And so I was comfortable with my work ethic being a serial dater. My work ethic at work was really good, because I had to make sure I had to impress people. I had to make sure I had to keep this word or live up this reputation. I was the best thing that ever happened to her, or I was the best thing that ever happened at this job. But when the emotions came up and I couldn't express myself about being a great worker or a great leader or a great father or a great husband, I couldn't muster up those emotions because I wasn't that guy. I could perform, but then when it's time to perform in love and care and passion and compassion in a relationship, I didn't have it. I couldn't do it. And so I learned all these things in therapy, and she really helped me out. Being competitive, which means that I didn't like want to lose, so I wasn't going to listen. I wasn't going to compromise. I wasn't going to be fair. I wasn't going to listen. Say, okay, you know what, you right. It was hard for me to say, yeah, you right. I wasn't going to do that at all. And so with an overt narcissist, they're very competitive by any means necessary. It doesn't matter the cost. If I hurt somebody's feelings being competitive, so be it. If I hurt my ex-wife or hurt my kids or hurt my ex-girlfriend and being competitive because I had to win at all costs, so be it. And so I didn't understand their emotions when they would cry or hurt or feel disrespected or felt like I just excluded them. You know, it didn't matter to me. So that lack of empathy, the lack of care is there in an overt narcissist. Being overbearing, being over the top, being over cocky, being over arrogant. You don't have time to process anybody else's feelings. You don't have time to listen to somebody else's ideas. You don't have time to reason with anybody. A lot of my ex-girlfriends told me I never allowed them to express themselves. And I didn't realize I was not allowing them to express themselves. Why? Because I was overbearing. I was competitive. I was over the top. I was over cocky. I was, conceited, all of that. So it was all about me. And as long as she stayed with me, I felt like I was doing right. I felt like I was doing the right thing. And so I didn't give myself time to understand her emotions or her feelings because I didn't have any, right? I lack patience when I'm being competitive, when I'm being overbearing. I lack patience. I didn't allow other people to grow around me or with me and as far as a relationship. Now, I did in the military because that was a part of my reputation. That was part of my appearance. I got this great team. I'm building people up. People are successful under me. People are successful because of me. And a lot of times I would play it off like, yeah, I'm kind of humble. And, I understand you did this and congratulations, great job. But in my mind, I was like, yeah, that was all because of me. So that's that grandiose type of mindset. Look what I've done. Look how I built you up. Look how I made this team into a winning team. And so overt narcissistic people are very sneaky, right? We hide things because we don't want the truth to come out. And so that's where the lying comes in, lie about anything just to make sure I keep my appearance looking well and I keep my reputation intact. So there are just a couple of things that I want to talk about as far as an overt narcissist: being overbearing, being competitive, not willing to listen, not willing to be fair. Everything was about me. All right, y'all have a great night.